Belarus's political and economic orientation towards Russia has made Minsk critically dependent on its neighbor. Since 2014, when Kyiv's allies imposed the first restrictions on the aggressor country, the Kremlin has used Belarus to import sub-sanctioned goods. And after Minsk became internationally isolated in 2020 and many Belarusian businesses shut down due to mass protests, Moscow helped keep the country's economy going with essentially direct subsidies. Now, when Russia has become a record breaker in international sanctions, cooperation between the two regimes has reached its historical maximum.
These ties have become even closer. They have almost turned Belarus into a de facto region of the Russian Federation. Russia is a creditor of last resort, investor of last resort, logistician of last resort, customer. Just look at any aspect of their economic activity and you will see that after the 2022, the indicators of the Belarusian economy have significantly shifted towards Russia.
Since the beginning of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine by the Russian army, part of the sanctions against Moscow has been extended to Minsk. In June 2024, the EU once again tightened the list of restrictions against Belarus. First of all, Brussels focused on preventing the circumvention of sanctions. For example, now European exporters must include the so-called article on the prohibition of Belarus in the contracts. This is a ban on re-export of sub-sanctioned goods, including dual-use goods, technology, weapons and ammunition to Belarus. One of the most important areas of cooperation for the two regimes is the military-industrial complex. Belarusian factories produce weapons for the Russian army. Such large-scale orders have even led to some growth of the country's economy after 2022, although according to experts, such total dependence on Moscow will sooner or later lead to a collapse.
When all the eggs are put in one basket, it is natural that when the basket falls, then everything will be crushed. And then it will be the most severe structural failure, and it will only be possible to change that exclusively by market reforms.
However, Lukashenko is looking for backup. The only reliable option, in his opinion, is Beijing. Over the past half a year, the Belarusian dictator has met with the leadership of China twice. The parties signed economic agreements. Minsk said their potential is estimated at more than $3.5 billion. But according to economists, nothing will change dramatically in the near future.
Lukashenko's flight to China, contacts and active promotion of investors from China and the perception of Belarus by the Chinese as a springboard for new investments. As long as the sanctions restrictions continue, the only more or less serious market for Belarusian products will be, of course, the Russian Federation. That's why I think this relationship is likely to continue.
The Kremlin also used other states, former Soviet republics, to circumvent sanctions. Trade turnover has grown the most with Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan and Armenia, but the measures taken by Kyiv's allies to cut off ways to bypass the restrictions are systematically narrowing the circle of Kremlin's trading partners. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Andriy Dmitrenko, UATV News.